even as his own political career hangs in the balance.
Can you get me a rope?
Boris Johnson's ability to destabilise other people's at the same time remains unparalleled. The former Prime Minister quit the Commons with a furious resignation statement this week, blaming a witch hunt over the parliamentary investigation into Partygate.
I do not believe that you can conceivably find me guilty of wittingly misleading Parliament on the basis of the evidence that you have assembled.
His departure, along with that of 2 allies, will trigger 3 by-elections that will test the government's popularity. Is this a new Tory civil war or just the death throes of a dinosaur wing?
Well, I think actually, Boris was a man of many qualities. He also often, created quite a lot of drama as well, and it's his decision.
So you're not worried about a new Conservative civil war?
Well, the power lies in being in Parliament, right? That's where decisions get made. That's where, and Boris and a couple of others have removed themselves from that. I think it's a shame, actually. I really enjoyed serving Boris Johnson. I think he did a lot of great things, including getting this country vaccinated before any other. I'm sorry that he's leaving Parliament. I haven't seen the report that made him leave, of course. No one else has, because it hasn't been published yet. He's read it, taken the decision, the world moves on.
That report is expected to be published in the next few days, providing welcome fuel to the campaigns of opposition parties standing in the by-elections.
Voters are fed up of the Conservatives. Lifelong Conservatives are switching to the Liberal Democrats. And here in Mid-Bedfordshire, I'm increasingly confident that even in these early days, I think we can win here.
Knocking on doors here over the last 6 months, people are sick and tired of yet more Tory shambles and Tory chaos.
The by-elections were also triggered in part over the fallout from Mr Johnson's honours list, where Rishi Sunak is accused of blocking some appointments, including former Culture Secretary Nadine Dorries. Today, Number 10 took the unusual step of declassifying the list they received after it had been approved by the House of Lords Appointments Commission to try to end the accusation that the Prime Minister intervened. And if you thought all the infighting was over, one of those who did receive an honour, Jacob Rees-Mogg, today warned of a civil war if Boris Johnson tried to make a comeback but was blocked. It's too early to say whether those threats are just a ploy to destabilise his one-time Chancellor turned nemesis, or if he'll go for another try.
Anja Popp with that report. Well, joining me now from West London is Calvia Ranger, who was Director of Transport Policy for Boris Johnson when he was Mayor of London. He's been nominated for a peerage in the former Prime Minister's resignation honours list. Congratulations to you, Calvia Ranger. But I just wonder, the man who gave you that honour resigned from Parliament on Friday in disgrace after being judged by his fellow MPs. Does that give you any pause for thought? I mean, in terms of keeping the honour, or are you going to hand it back?
Well, look, firstly, I want to say, these honours and recognitions are for people who've worked for a very long time in the political realm and for the public sector and in many areas of public life. And personally, I'm very grateful to the former Prime Minister for recognising 25 years of work that I've done in and around the political realm and 4 years of work with him at City Hall. And there's a lot that he and his political capital did that benefited Londoners and still does. So there are many things over a political career that people do that then may be recognised in this way. And I think currently we have a situation, there is a debate going on, we're all waiting to see what this Privileges Committee report actually says. So I wouldn't judge to make any early judgment on that report. But I think the Prime Minister personally feels that this is not the right process that has been undertaken and it's not fair, or the former Prime Minister, sorry, and it's not fair for him.
Just to get back to the honours list, I mean, your achievements are in London are notable. You helped introduce the Oyster card. What was the other thing? A couple of other important things in terms of London transport. The Boris bikes, of course. But on that honours list, also Boris Johnson's hairdresser, you could argue, you could wonder what the achievement was there. And of course, his father was on the list, but he didn't get approved by the Prime Minister. I just wonder whether you feel that the company that you keep on that list slightly diminishes the honour.
Not at all. I'm very proud of pretty much everybody who's on the list, and there's due reason for that. Their
including Boris Johnson's hairdresser.
I have to say, Well, I think people who work in and around politics work in a very specific environment. I've always said working inside City Hall or in Number 10 or in Whitehall in senior positions is a unique pressure. I'm sure journalists get a sense of that when they understand the kind of dynamics that there are involved in politics, the responsibility that you bear, the things that you're being tested with every day. I think through the lens of the media, you see a small percentage of that, but really a very small percentage. Everybody who works in a political environment is tested. They're tested because they're trying to do the right thing for the people. They're facing difficult decisions. There are always winners and losers, and they have to weigh the weight of those decisions on their shoulders, not for the moment they take them, but ever going forward. So,
but being tested doesn't mean that you break.
Person who's been scrutinised and has achieved and been recognised in this way.
But being tested doesn't mean that you're allowed to break the law, which quite a few people have done, including those on the honours list.
Well, I'm not sure how many of them. I haven't really scrutinised that against the law. But the former Prime Minister was given a fine. I think the current Prime Minister was given a fine. There was a particular incident around these things, and the Met Police have investigated. But in the context of their life's work and, as I say, decades of service, as it could be for some people and others in very intense environments, I think that's the perspective that really is taken when these honours are actually given.
Very briefly, Calvin Ranger, you're a friend of Boris Johnson. Have you been in touch with him in recent days? And if you have, how's he feeling at the moment?
I haven't since Friday, but previously in the last couple of weeks I have. He's been very busy, as people have been able to tell. He's a man who always is busy and keeps himself occupied. But I think he has been frustrated by the situation that has happened around his having to step down and everything else that's followed that. But you can expect that. No former Prime Minister wants to leave in that way. But I also think that he has plenty to do and plenty to offer. And I think he will have a role in public life going forward in this country.
All right, so come back to the Commons in one word, yes or no?
Well, I said public life. It may not be in the Commons, but I think he has indicated that it's he's leaving the Commons for now. So no doubt he has a view that he might be back.
All right, run out of time. Calvin Ranger, thank you very much indeed.